Welcome everybody to another episode of the Abarcast. This is Brian Abarca. I'm your host, and today let's talk about glutes and are they real or are they fake? It's disappointing these days. The biggest fitness influencers on social media Photoshop their pictures and or have BBLs. I know what you're thinking. Fuck you, Brian. You're a Hispanic Krillin. You have a big head. Who are you to judge? But I just want to address this honestly because it affects people, especially my clients, psychologically, because they're chasing something that is naturally impossible to reach. These influencers are selling training programs. They have the appearance of big glutes, but know nothing about proper glute training. During consultations with my clients, when we first meet, I have some clients pull up IG influencers and models and explain they have mimicked their exercises that they've seen on Instagram, TikToks, Snapchat, etc. at the gym and still see no results. As a trainer, now I have to explain how cosmetic procedures and photoshopping set unrealistic fitness expectations. As a trainer, I must set achievable objectives tailored to each client. So there's some exercises that are usually mainstream that these clients usually show me on those consultations. I'm talking about like those kickbacks where they, excessively arch their back. Their back is in hyperextension. They look like a scorpion. You don't want to be doing that. Also, when you have cables in between your legs and a man or a woman are kneeling and they're thrusting their hips forward, those exercises are not really that good for proper glute training and proper glute growth. But those are the two main exercises that I would see when we are doing consultations. But let's talk about, let's say, BBLs, Brazilian butt lifts. Basically, fat is sucked out from places in your body like your legs, waist, etc. and put on their glutes, resulting in a very tiny, small waist and a big ass. Nothing is wrong with that. I honestly find it attractive if surgery is done right, but that's not the point in this episode. It's the fact that these influencers lie that they earned it at the gym and give others false hope. That's the issue that I have, to be honest. Like they lie. Like I'm not talking about, maybe we did, maybe we didn't. No, they lie. They do not tell anyone. They go MIA for 6 months or a year. And then they come back all of a sudden. They're like, oh yeah, it's proper training, proper diet. I have my program here. I'm ready to sell to you guys. And then they start selling fake booty programs when it was a cosmetic procedure. And it's fine, but just be honest about it. And some clients, they come up to me, or I should say potential clients. They come up to me and they say, but Booty Dr. Brian, how do I lose weight and fat but keep it on my ass? Technically, you cannot do that. It's a very popular question when I get asked that, especially since, I was very well known for the past few years as the booty doctor. The fact is, when you have natural big glutes, and I'm talking about 9 times out of 10, they're Spanish women, you have some exceptions as Caucasians and African Americans, but especially, growing up in a Spanish household, 9 times out of 10, we have those Latin, curves. And the fact is, those natural big glutes or curves are mostly fat, And if you don't have much muscle there and you've never worked out glutes before and you start losing fat, let's say in a fat loss program, you're going to start losing your glutes. That's fact. I usually tell my clients this right before, actually starting to train, and have them become aware of these things, just because it's very, very important to be aware that there's going to be a few inches shaved off your glutes. Okay. You can't choose where you're going to lose your fat at the end of the day. It's genetic. Good news is that if you end up losing fat, especially in your glutes, you can always go back and build some muscle there. And that's where I'm trying to get at, especially since we're talking about glutes. You want to build muscle by doing doing exercises that specifically work on these glutes. I'm talking about the three major glutes in your hips. I'm talking about the glute medius, the glute maximus, and the glute minimus. Okay, I'm talking about those crab walks that I always advertise on Instagram. I'm talking about those hip thrusts that I always advertise on Instagram. I'm talking about those monster walks. I'm talking about proper glute extensions or kickbacks. But those are the things that I really have been in the past few years, really been focused on my go-to exercises when I have female clients reach out to me saying, listen, booty doctor, I need a Colombian ass. But I really need to express that, hey, reality check, you know, the things that are you seeing on Instagram or social media, they're not realistic unless you go under a cosmetic procedure. But now that we're on the topic of social media, there's a lot of photoshopping for men and women who are fitness influencers and that already have amazing bodies. They already have amazing physiques. So my thought process is like, why Photoshop? You know, there's nothing wrong with putting filters and contrasting a little bit of the photos just so that you can see or improve the aesthetic of the photo and to increase, the colors in the photo so you can make it pop. It's fine. I even do that. You know, I just came back from Hawaii. I've been doing that with the beach and myself and etc. But you don't see me literally photoshopping, pointing at my ass or pointing at my midsection and then just dragging along and literally photoshopping some of my photos. You don't see me do that. But when you're intentionally enhancing your ass and slimming down your waist, you're misleading people. For what? You're going to end up seeing them in person and you're going to expose yourself. Like I honestly do not understand what. And for the people who are going to be seeing this on my social media, like, please reply, because I'm honestly lost. Like, I don't know why people would do that. Why do I have a problem with this? You're intentionally trying to mislead people about your physique. Again, it comes down to, you're a different person in social media, but when you're meeting someone in person, there's no hiding. Like you're literally going to let the other person find out, what you photoshopped. So honestly, like, why do you do that? Men and women, and that's the real aspects and obstacles that us trainers, have to deal with in social media. And now that I'm speaking about social media and the aspects of training, I want to kind of transition into the business aspect of social media and training. Why has social media affected, personal training's business side in a positive or negative way? Now, the negative way, it's some of you guys, you may understand or may realize, all right, that's pretty obvious. But putting some things to light, people have unrealistic expectations for training due to photoshopping and cosmetic procedures. In addition to this, there is so much free content now on social media available, which from a business standpoint can negatively impact people's willingness to pay a trainer per session rates. It's fact, not only social media, but you now have Google X, Y, and Z. You can just hashtag X, Y, and Z, and you have literally a training program on social media. So then why have a trainer? It's a good question. Ultimately, when people with no fitness experience, though, follow and copy these free workout reels, let's say on TikTok or on Instagram, they typically end up getting hurt. They hurt themselves. It's 9 times out of 10. I'm telling you, when I have clients come in to my gym saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a trainer because X, Y, and Z. I want to lose fat. I want to look cute. Wedding's coming up. My quinceañera's coming up." I get it, but when I ask for a medical history, they're like, "I feel, some Rice Krispies in my ankles, some Rice Krispies in my back. I have a torn ACL. I have a herniated disc. And these men and women are 16, 17 years old. And I asked them why. You know, these injuries happen when you start copying people on Instagram. They follow those workouts, those reels. But they happen because of the lack of stretching, improper form. They use heavy weight when in fact you've never enjoyed weight training. You've never lifted any heavy weights before. So why all of a sudden are you going to jump onto a heavy squat rack or a heavy bench? These things happen, you know. So when you hire a personal trainer, you almost, and I welcome it because I'm very diverse in my craft, but when you seek a trainer and you start telling them, listen, I have all these injuries, you know, it kind of complicates our job a little bit more. And it's, you know, it's neither here nor there. There's that gray area where, you know, you can have that additional exposure to exercises, reels, etc. of different workouts depending on your goals, but yet you need to properly be educated before and or after these exposures to these exercises. What are the positive aspects of social media on my business side? Good question. So social media acts as a networking platform that allows personal trainers like myself connect with individuals all around the globe, worldwide. You know, I'm bald, Mr. Worldwide, Pitbull, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? I go all out. So when I'm hashtagging UK, hashtagging LA, hashtagging, you know, London, I'm putting my hashtag Chelsea FC. I'm really trying to get my brand well known worldwide. Why? So that when I go see a Chelsea game, they're going to be like, hey, you're that Pitbull looking Hispanic Krillin, you know, motherfucker that does the booty work. That's the booty doctor in the US and Jersey. Oh yeah, that's me. And then, you know, I could have a picture. It's great. But in all seriousness, I have had a lot of increased number of virtual training sessions and online programs because of this outreach. And that's just fact. You know, I'll have people all across the US say, hey, listen, you know, I wish I can train with you. I wish I could drive to Jersey. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that, but I can't. I'm in a different state. I'm miles away. So what's the best thing you can do to help me out? I'll give them advice. I'll answer all their questions. And then they still insist on having some type of format or structure. And then that's when I give them the option of doing online programs or virtual training. You know, I even have clients who've end up training with me for a year, 2 years, and then they end up moving. They end up getting married, etc. And they still want to continue with me. So then there's that virtual aspect. It also helps connect me with clients and followers 24/7. Literally Sunday through Sunday. I'm contacting, I'm reaching out, I'm tagging, I'm conversating, I'm commenting, I'm liking all these clients that I train and all the potential clients that I train and the followers. You know, you actually think about it. I'm in touch with them 24/7, regardless of the time. Yeah, there's that professional aspect of, you know, I shouldn't be texting my clients after a specific time. But then that social media, you know, it's that buffer. It's that gray area where, well, technically it's social media. You know, even if I want to be professional, if I want to tag someone at 12 a.m. in the morning, I can. It's social media. Hopefully that will go viral. And then there you go. My client and myself are marketing each other. You know, this round clock connection allows me to post media content, educate people, also allows me to stay connected and involved in my clients and the lives of my clients and even my followers. I'm connected to them. So, you know, Rebecca, if I'm telling Rebecca to behave in the weekends and eat very well, and then she's posting nachos and wings and then mozzarella sticks and X, Y, and Z from Applebee's from the 2 for $20 meal, you know, I may have something to say. I may have, you know, a comment or a swipe up saying, hey, you know, emoji eyes, what's going on here? And then when I see them on Monday, there's no going back to that. But yet, you know, I may face some blocking or some hiding of stories, but to be honest, like I have that connection with those people, in all aspects. And believe it or not, a trainer's role is not only to help individuals produce physical results. It's not only that, but it's also to work and to increase individuals' self-esteem, to give them self-confidence. If a client is negative, change that aspect, change that mentality to a positive one. If someone is mentally, in the other side of a positive spectrum, and they're seeking advice, they're seeking help, they're seeking education, but then they also seek someone who is not biased, who's going to be straightforward to them, family, a friend, that's part of my job as well. Training, I always tell my clients, is very psychological, especially in the beginning when you try to establish a relationship, during a consultation, during the first session, trust is given or is kept away in the first session, second session, or even the consultation if your wall is already up and you have trust issues, and if you trust your trainer, beautiful things could happen, before we even get to, or you know what, I would like to get away from that emotional part and speak about my tan. So yes, I went to Hawaii. I was gone for 10 days. It was gorgeous. I was speaking to one of my clients throughout the week this week because this is my first week back. And I told him, listen, you almost lost a trainer because I went skydiving and I went swimming with the sharks during my time in Oahu in Hawaii. And I literally thought I was going to die multiple times. But these are the things I had in my bucket list. Why? Because I realized after my grandfather, aka my dad, passed away, life is short. So I figured, why not? I need to face these fears, prove to myself, prove to my clients, prove to my followers that fear is just mental and you can honestly overcome anything. Physically, mentally, anything. You can hop over that obstacle, and the other side is actually greener in that aspect, So I always had this joke where, and it wasn't really a joke, where, I actually shared my bank account and my passwords to my sister right before I jumped, just in case. Like I didn't want to call my mom and say, hey, listen, I might die today. I love you. Pass me to my grandmother. Listen, I love you, etc. I did not want to do that. My mother's very, very, she's a very nervous type of person. So if you even tell her any type of anxious statement, she's going to go wall to wall. She's going to Chris Brown it. You know what I'm saying? So I give all my information to my sister. And my sister's like, she's always been very nonchalant. She's like, you'll be fine. Get over it. Stop being a pussy. So after that, I jump off, 15,000 feet. I jump off of a plane that's, 50 pounds. Think about a Honda Civic from 1995 version of a plane in the sky. I was in one of those that only fit 5 people. Okay, I was pretty scared. My cameraman who I hired there to, do the whole video of my jump, and, the guy that helped me do the parachute thing on my back, I forgot the terminology. They all really welcomed me and tried to kind of calm down my nerves, which was fine. But then when I'm sitting down there and it's a 15-minute flight to 15,000 feet right above the clouds to jump off, and they're all saying bye to each other like it's the last time they're gonna hang out and see each other, I'm shitting bricks, to be honest. And I was the second person in line. I jumped off. For a second, you actually feel like you're in a roller coaster for a second. After that, it's fucking paradise, to be honest. If you have the luxury or the opportunity to go to Hawaii and do skydiving, go for it. Skydiving in upstate New York, it's probably not going to be the best view, but it's also an experience. But I decided, why not? I have gorgeous islands, turquoise neon blue waters to see. If I die, that's going to be my last scene. Jump into the sharks. The video that I posted was a fisheye view. So everybody was asking, oh, these are little baby sharks. They could actually go through the cage. No, they're fucking huge. They look like they were maybe 20, 25 feet, big or long. The bars of the cage were literally this wide. So if I wanted to, I could get out of the cage. But why the fuck would you do that? There were 7 sharks. They were swimming all around me, all under the cage. I think even this might be illegal. I'm not going to tag them, so you don't have to be worried about it. But the captain actually threw chum in the fucking water, and the sharks just kind of went crazy. And I was like, oh shit, I'm going to die for a second. But I felt one with the shark. Those of you who know me and explained or where I've explained why I love sharks. My grandfather, he used to be a professional wrestler in Peru back in the day when he was 18, and he was called the shark in Spanish, el tiburón. That's why I have a shark right here. And the captain was just like, oh, hey, you look like a shark lover. You should be the first one to jump into the cage. So that's why I thought I was going to die. Other than that, the best experience and the scariest experience was definitely the skydiving. Yes, I was a fat ass in Hawaii, regardless of whether I ate well or not. I ate horribly. And the last 3 days was the most active because I did not want to come back as a bloated fat piece of shit of a trainer and then train my clients and say, hey, listen, did you guys do your homework? And I didn't even do my homework, so I did hikes here and there. I worked out the last 3 days and I felt great. The food was amazing. Everything was very fresh. The only bad aspect was just the desserts were amazing. But that was my Hawaii trip. If you guys have the luxury of going to Hawaii, I tell you, please, please, please go to Hawaii. Start with Oahu. I was thinking about doing Maui, but I was convinced to do Oahu. It is a very, very long fucking flight. I'm a wide guy. So if I'm going to be in a 6-inch economy, not plus, but negative, and I'm right here for 12 hours, I'm going to be dying. So I sold my leg and I sold my arm and I did first class, and it was the best thing ever. I saw 4 fucking movies. And the next thing you know, I hear the captain's like, oh, the landing is going to be in an hour. And I was like, oh shit, this is how first class is. I had a bed. It was amazing. The food was still kind of shitty, but it was definitely better than peanuts, on a 12-hour flight. Coming back, it was an economy plus because it was 8-9 hours, so that was fine. Other than that, everything was great. If you have more information or if you want more information about Hawaii, DM me, email me, text to me, talk to me, and I'll be happy to advise you. But other than that, that's my episode. Cheers. I love you all. I will see you in my next Abarcast. Please, please, please answer my question Monday so that I can start tackling these questions. I know I skipped it, but I had a lot of things to get off my chest after a nice 2-week break from the Abarcast. But I'm happy I'm back. I love you all, and I'll see you guys next time.